Hi everybody, it's Meg from Books Off the Beaten Path, and we are going to do a short little tag. I was tagged on this by Pat from Book Chat with Pat, and I'm so thrilled. I love to get tagged. I don't get tagged often enough. I don't know, nobody wants to tag me. I don't know what it is. But anyway, so this one is about reading, and I have unfortunately forgotten the name of the tag. I will look it up before I post it in my description box, but this is all about reading. And so we are going to talk reading and some books and a little bit of cross stitch and things like that. Okay, you ready? Here we go. Prompt number 1. What do you enjoy most about reading? The quiet of it. It just quiets me. It quiets my soul, it quiets my brain, it quiets my heart. It just quiets me. Even if I'm reading like an adventure story or something like that, just the quiet of it. You know, because I can't have music on when I read or anything like that. I can have like ambient noise, like a fan going or something like that, like white noise, but I love how reading quiets me. Okay, what is the greatest benefit you get from reading? The greatest benefit I get from reading is seeing the movie in my head. Because when someone's done a great job about when they've written a book, and I really love it, it's like watching a movie for me. It's like I go to bed and I lie down and I get to watch a movie, and it's wonderful. And I get to experience what the characters are experiencing, but I really do see that movie in my head. And there's a name for that. There's a scientific name for that. I don't know what it is, but there's a scientific name for it. Is there any other activity which gives you satisfaction similar to reading? Yes. Yes, there is. Cross stitching. I'm going to show you a little bit of my cross stitching, because cross stitching also quiets me. I love the feel of needle and thread. I love when the pattern comes up on the fabric. Okay, so one of the things I've worked on recently is, I dropped it. This little cardinal that I got. It's just a little winter cardinal, female cardinal. And I put it on this kind of shiny fabric, and I've gotten this far on it. You can see the top of the cardinal's head. It's coming along, and I'm stitching it in hand, which for those non-stitchers out there means I'm not using a hoop, and it just dropped back into the bag. So I'm doing that, and that was going along pretty well, but I need to show you Scrooge, because Scrooge is really racing along. And so yeah, cross stitching quiets me too. And I'm allowed to think. I can stitch and I can think about other things at the same time. So here's my Scrooge. And I've got the frame almost done. And then this is going to be holly and berries up here. Doesn't he look good? I was working on him just a little while ago. So yes, I would say that that is comparable to reading to me, because it quiets me, and while I don't see a movie in my head, it allows me to think. I'm able to suspend whatever I'm worried or anxious about at the moment and just focus on the sound of the needle going through the fabric, and the way the thread tugs, and the colors, and the way the image comes up on the fabric, and it's beautiful, and I love it. And if you don't do it, you ought to do it. That's my aside. Okay. Do you have a dedicated time each day or specific days of the week set aside for reading? Yes, and I've discussed this before. I read from 6:30 to 8 o'clock every night. I call that my off-duty time, and I go to my bedroom, and I shut the door, and I read for an hour and a half every night. That's my off-duty time. And I look forward to it every day. There's nothing better. I think it's fantastic. My husband will sometimes come in and read with me, which is wonderful. I love that. Other times he'll be out watching a football game or something like that. But at 6:30, mom's off duty. I'm done. Okay. A dedicated amount of time each day for reading, that kind of goes into the last one. That's an hour and a half. Read an hour and a half. What is your favorite essay or book about the joys of reading? Well, I have two. And so one of them is the 10 Poems series. And this is a series of books. I've got 10 poems to last a lifetime. I got this from the library the other day, but I've read all of them. And so there's 10 poems to set you free, 10 poems to open your heart, 10 poems to change your life. And these are fantastic because I love poetry, and each of the poems comes with a little essay about the poem and how to read it, how to interpret it, a little bit about the poet. And I love that because I've always wanted to write poetry, because of the idea of making that whole story just very condensed. And I think that is such an art and such a gift. And the other one is kind of about reading, but it's more about writing. It's called The Writer's Journey. And who did this? Christopher Volgler. I've had this book for years. I've marked it up. I read it every now and again. And what it is he took Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey and he put it into how to write a story, how everybody writes a story that's the hero's journey. There's the shapeshifter. So you may not have a shapeshifter per se in your story, but one of your characters will end up being a shapeshifter. And that's kind of his premise. And he talks about the dramatic high points and everything like that. And really one of the reasons why I picked this book for this particular prompt is because it takes you back in every story you've ever read, and you recognize the guardians of the gate and the shapeshifters and the wise old wizards and the people that bar your way and the people that help you and the bridges and the valleys and the mountain peaks and everything like that. And his premise is every story has those. And I'm going along with his premise because I believe that. So I picked that one out. What is your favorite quote about reading? I love this one because this one fits right in with my genre of particular books that I like to read. It's a quote from Haruki Murakami, who I don't know who that is. And I just butchered his name. I believe it's a him. I say I don't know who it is. He's a Japanese author, but I've never read his stuff. But he wrote, if you only read books that everyone else is reading, you can only think what everyone else is thinking. And I say that to you, book talkers, not tubers, but book talkers who are T-O-C-K, book talkers who want to do all the bestsellers and the hot stuff out there and everything like that. Read a little vintage. Go off the beaten path. Read something that you haven't read before. I mean, somebody who's notorious for this is Roy Reads Everything. I mean, he is always coming up with just some amazing books that he reads on there. And Philip and Mark, my God, Mark is just killing it with the, books off the beaten path and everything like that. Books that he's reading about the Russian Revolution right now. So, wow, it's a lot. Okay, if you were denied time to read, or if your access to books was denied, how would you cope? I would cry a lot. I would become very depressed and very manic. And one of the reasons, because I've struggled with depression before, but one of the reasons that I don't struggle with it so much anymore, and there's many, many reasons, but one of the reasons is that 6:30 time slot that is mine, that I have carved out, and I've said, this is my time, it's nobody else's, and I would just be a manic mess if I didn't get to read. So then it's tag others. Well, I think everybody's just about done this tag. So if you haven't done the reading tag from Book Chat with Pat, then please do it because I want to watch more of it. Anyway, that's all I had to say at the moment. I hope you guys are getting ready for Christmas. I wish I had smell-o-vision. I'm making a stew in the crock pot and it is coming along great. It smells great. We're going to have that with some homemade bread tonight. So I'm going to be little Laura Ingalls Wilder today and just stewing bread. Anyway, I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. And if I don't speak to you before the holidays, have a wonderful holiday season and I will check you later.